The vulnerability of Lagos to any form of terrorist attack is not out of place. With a population of about 21 million people, the state, reputed as the nation's commercial nerve center, is home to the largest number of international hotels and businesses, attracting an equally huge number of foreigners seeking work and pleasure. In the last 1 year, there had been reports and unconfirmed accounts of threat of insurgents planning to attack Lagos. Alarms were raised over the need for security beef-ups around popular business and commercial centers in the state. There were also some arrests made by security agencies in some part of Lagos metropolis. On Wednesday this week, the U.S. mission in Nigeria advised that groups associated with terrorist activities might be planning attacks on hotels in Lagos visited by international tourists, including those located on the waterfronts. On the program today, we'll focus on why security agencies think Lagos is becoming an attraction for terror attacks, revisit issues around securing Lagos, and why Lagos is Nigeria's systematically important economic powerhouse. Yomi, a retired colonel, security consultant, and chief executive officer of International Masters Security Systems, joins me to talk about this. Good morning to you. Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you very much, Harriet.
Why do you think Lagos is becoming an attraction for terror attacks?
Well, there's no gainsaying that Lagos is the commercial capital of Nigeria. And of course, you know the position of Nigeria in Africa and even in the world. Lagos is what you can say called the center of gravity, you know. And of course, if cities like New York, London, Paris, name it, if they've been attacked. So what makes it special? It can happen anytime. But all we need to do is to be prepared.
Oh. So actually, I was going to say a possible attraction for terror attacks, but I apologize for that. Now, you know, based on that and looking at the topography of Lagos and the influx of people coming in from within the country and, of course, from outside, how prepared do you think Lagos is to handle a security breach in the eventuality that such a thing actually happens?
Well, I cannot completely say that there's no preparation, but I want to believe that we need to be more prepared. The authority, the government of Lagos State needs to be prepared on all fronts. I'm aware that a lot has been expended on procurement of security vehicles, equipment, helicopters, boats. But the point again here is that, are the operators well prepared? Are they trained to handle these things?
What about CCTV? What about the use of CCTV? I remember that sometime the Lagos State government actually talked about using CCTVs to monitor the states, especially those parts that they looked at as potentially hazardous and dangerous.
Yes, indeed. Of course, you know, CCTVs cannot work in isolation. There's need to have infrastructures in place. Infrastructures such as good roads. I mean, the streets must be properly lit. And then, of course, these CCTVs, even where you think you have them, how are they monitored? I expect a situation whereby control or monitoring centers will be decentralized, such that, you know, in various parts of the city, there will be control rooms where these things are, where the CCTVs are monitored. And are they functional? I mean, we must not concentrate on maybe the highbrow areas alone, because it's the responsibility of the government to protect all citizens, whether they are poor, whether they are rich, middle class, name it. So we expect that every area of Lagos State is covered. I mean, about a couple of days back, or is it 2 weeks ago, I mean, there was news about some militants storming the outskirts of Lagos, where they unleashed mayhem on citizens. I mean, that's not good.
How closely do you think, how well do you know the relationship between the Lagos State government and agencies? Do you think there's a very cordial relationship, especially in terms of policing the borders? Because yes, Lagos State, as I said, attracts a lot of people, those who come in for business and those who come in just to enjoy the sights and sounds of Lagos. But you do not know which kinds of people, other kinds of people are actually, coming into the state. Talking about the borders now, and we have a lot of communities, on the borders that we do trade with, whether with fish, whether with rice, and the rest of it. Do you think there's appropriate policing of these borders, even though they're trying to encourage, economic balance and trade between both sides of the divide? Do you think there's enough policing?
To be very honest with you, I do not think there's enough policing. I do not think so. And that's an area that we all need to step up. We all need to step up, both the federal government and the state government. And especially when we're talking about Lagos State here. I mean, we have our immediate neighbors. I mean, there's nothing wrong in trading, but at the same time, we must not just leave our doors open. All the necessary things must be done by way of checking that, unwelcome visitors don't come in. So people should be properly documented when they come into our country to conduct their business.
So where are we on intelligence gathering? If we're talking about documentation, what about intelligence gathering?
Well, that's an area, again, that I think the government should pay, due attention to. I don't think we are doing enough in intelligence gathering. I mean, you just wake up, you see influx of people just roaming the streets, and nobody's talking to them. You go to churches, you find just people just streaming there. You go to mosque, you find people streaming there. I mean, I'm not against people going to places of worship. But of course, you don't know who is the devil. So nothing stops us from screening people and asking people, when you see people just flooding about the streets, on the bridges, you stop them and ask them. And of course, the government also needs to engage, citizens. For example, I mean, even the recharge card seller could be employed to be an agent of the government for the purpose of gathering intelligence. The taxi driver. These are all sources of intelligence.
So I think we need to do, maybe let me phrase this again. Everybody always seems to think that it is the responsibility of government to secure their lives and property. Agreed. That is one of their primary responsibilities. They also have the security agents. But what about the citizens themselves? Why can't they not always take it upon themselves that, look, it is my life, I need to secure my life, the life of my family and other relatives. Why do I always have to take the back seat when it comes to issues like this? When I know that if there's a security issue, a security crisis right now, it affects me just as it affects the next person.
I do agree with you. I 100% agree with you. It is everybody's responsibility. But again, the government must ensure that the people are aware of their responsibilities. There must be, enlightenment. There must be, adequate security enlightenment. The government must go all out to ensure that they use all avenue on the television, on the radio, by way of pasting information or at bus stops on the streets.
But Colonel,
people know.
How much more enlightenment do you need? When you watch the news, you hear of bombings in parts of the country, in the northeast, and up until even the south. We even heard of threats, to lives and property. So how much more enlightenment do you need before you realize that you have to take, a step just like the other authorities have taken, the state government and the security agents, to make sure that your area of constituency is protected?
Well, you're talking about when you listen to radio or you watch television. I mean, there are some communities within this Lagos state who haven't seen light maybe for weeks or months now. So what are we talking about here? So I do agree, security is everybody's business. I mean, we should even go a step further. For example, Lagos State is known to be a trailblazer. I mean, they should make it a compulsory curriculum for civic education, right from, kindergarten, and across the board. so that people should know that, look, when you hear something, you say it. When you see something, you say it. Anything that seems not to be normal to you, you report it. And that's the way we can overcome some of these challenges.
Well, to stave off a possible attack and, of course, allay the fears of residents, visitors and businesses, what should be the immediate focus for Lagos State government?
Well, I think the immediate focus for Lagos government is to step up, for example, to ensure that the waterways, because we have a lot of water ways, the creeks, ensure that there's patrol, such that people, for example, under the bridges, you find people just hanging out under the bridges. There should be patrol, armed patrol. You stop and check and find out what those people are doing here. We've heard in the news how the Niger Delta Avengers have promised to come and bomb Third Mainland Bridge. Are we saying that we won't go over Third Mainland Bridge again? But again, at the same time, you don't take it for granted that they are just making noise. So there must be patrol, and then of course there must be area patrols too. The helicopters should fly over and ensure that they do some coverage, and then and on the land. For example, the Lagos State government has done well. We've seen the vehicles, patrolling the streets, but it's not enough to just keep these vehicles in a particular place, maybe in the suburbs. In the metropolis. They should go to the outskirts too. They should be zoned so that everybody will feel their presence. So that's just my take.
So for you, you talked about police in the waterways.
Yes.
How would you rate the state of marine police in Lagos? Any idea about it?
Well,
as if we have.
Yes. To be very honest with you, I've not seen any impact of marine policing. I've not. All I just see is people doing their brisk business, across the waters, and then most times you hear about accidents and whatnot, And talking about effective policing of Lagos State too, I think at this juncture the Lagos State government should also try, and then by way of I'm a very strong advocate of state policing. And I think the Lagos State government should do everything possible to impress it upon the federal government on the need, to encourage state policing. Because from state policing, we'll have enough men also to go down to doing community policing. I really don't see any big deal about this, and I don't know why we're shying away from this, because it will also help in providing employment for our teeming youths or people who are just roaming about the streets. Because what we have right now is grossly inadequate. That is the truth.